A warm welcome back to our STEAM machines. This is Jack from Conductive Music with a session exploring geography, music and coding. This is STEAM Corner, and at the end of today's session you will have coded a musical map of the UK which you can use to practice your geography. The coding we'll be using today is available on the link below, so give it a click with your tablet or computer to get ourselves started. Thanks as ever to Arts Council England and our partners for making these sessions possible. This is the screen you're going to be greeted with when you click on the link we gave you just before, and your first task is going to be head over to the bottom of your screen. Can you see this circle here? My cursor is just over. This is going to give us our first set of instructions of what we need to do today, so let's give it a click. This is the screen that appears when you click on the little green button. Now you're going to have to colour the countries of the UK the same as is described on the screen using the compass points. If you're not sure what they are, I'll tell you a rhyme which I learned in school which really helps. So starting from north, we have never eat shredded wheat. So that stands for north, east, south and west. So colour Wales the same as north, England the same as east, Northern Ireland is already coloured the same as south, and finally Scotland the same as west. So I can remember, I should know as I live there, that this one down here in the bottom left is Wales, and we had to colour that the same as north, which was, 2 seconds, which was this one, wasn't it? This blue colour here. Okay, so let's go and click on our sprite, which I believe is Wales, is country number 1. And let's go over to costumes here at the top of the tab, give it a click. And now we wanted a blue colour for this, so we can find the blue colour here. I think it's already on a blue. There we go. Find a nice blue, there we go. And the tool we're going to need to use is this one, which is our fill tool. And if you hold your mouse over or hover over it, you'll get that word fill underneath. And so what we're going to do, making sure that is selected, let's just give that a click. Give a click there to get the Anglesey, which is that island at the top. And then also, this is very important, we need to do the second costume as well. So click on the second costume and do exactly the same thing. And then what you'll see is over here on our map, our Wales has turned a blue colour. Okay, so I'd like to just stop at this point and try to do the other directions, the other compass points, matching the colours with the different countries as well. So if you stop now and then join me back, I'll have done the rest of it in just a second, but have a go yourselves. Okay, how did you get on? I hope that you've been able to colour England here in yellow, Scotland here in red, Wales in blue and Northern Ireland in green. And I tell you what, these bits here, the Outer Hebrides and the Inner Hebrides with all the little islands, were quite tricky to colour in, weren't they, with the little the fill tool. Also the Orkney Isles up here were pretty tricky to kind of click those in. England and Wales are pretty straightforward because they only have one island each. So you have the Isle of Wight here for England, and we've got Anglesey up there for Wales as well. Okay, so the next challenge I'm going to set to you is to put this map together. Now there's only one piece on this map that doesn't move, and this is Northern Ireland. I've fixed that on there so that you shouldn't be able to click it. So there we go, I can't move that one, but I can move all of the other pieces. So I can't move that Northern Ireland at all. That's fixed there, but all of the other pieces I can move around. So I'd like you to stop the program here and have a go at moving the British Isles together in the formation that suits. So off you go. Okay, welcome back to our UK map. Hopefully we were able to move the 4 countries comprising the United Kingdom into some sort of arrangement similar to this. So we have our Northern Ireland here, Scotland towards the top, then England, then Wales just to the side of it. Now I've moved some of these around, and what these are the seas that surround the UK. And if you'll notice that they have quite straight edges, but the edges I'd actually like you to concentrate on for the next part of this workshop are these ones that look a little bit more jagged. And that's because these seas actually fit onto the map in the correct places. So your next challenge is to moving these other symbols you don't need those at the moment. You can move those to any spare part of the screen. Try to fit these seas and the ocean around the UK, and then look at their position and see if you can find out exactly where they're supposed to be. Okay, pause it now and off you go. Okay, welcome back, Steam Machine. So here is the correct combination. Let's start over here with the North Sea, and that's going off the north coast of England there. And then if we head to the south, we have the English Channel, which is between England and what that would be is France there. Just we can't see it because it's not on the map. Then we have, just coming round, we have the Celtic Sea, and that's actually left sort of the west of Wales, and below Ireland, which is missing off the map here because it's not the same country as the UK. It's just the north of Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. Southern Ireland is a separate country, so that's why it's not on our map here. But we also have the Irish Sea, which just is just under between here, the Irish, just under Northern Ireland, and just across from northwestern England. And then finally, just poking off, I didn't know if you managed to find this, just poking off the Outer Hebrides up here, we have the North Atlantic Ocean. Of course, if you kept on going really, really far off towards the left or towards the west there, we'd eventually end up in America. So that's why we call the North Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so your next task, if you notice, we have 4 cities in our map. We have Belfast, London, Cardiff and Edinburgh. And you might not know this, but these are the capital cities of the UK. So they're the main cities of each of the countries here. So we're going to have our next task, which is going to be connecting our capital cities with these little bars here. Now these move, but you can't really shape them. So let me give you a clue for the first one. I'll start you off and then I'd like you to complete the rest of it. So for this one here, now I know that the capital city of Scotland is Edinburgh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Edinburgh up here on my map. Here we go. And you've got to connect it so that none of these rods overlay with any of the seas. It can overlay with land, but I don't need to overlay them with a sea. So for example, if I was trying to connect the capital city here to Edinburgh, I couldn't do that, for example, because that's going over the sea. I'd have to find one of these rods which allowed it to sit away from it. So let's try this one. Okay, that works for Edinburgh. So I'll give you that one. And now I would like to try to do the other 3 remaining capital cities of the UK and come back just after you've been able to do it. Okay, good luck. Okay, did you manage to get the combination right? I gave you Edinburgh, and then we had the capital city of Northern Ireland here, Belfast, the capital city of England here, London, and the capital city of Wales here, Cardiff. And if you've noticed, all of our dots join and none of the seas have been overshadowed with these rods. So that is the correct combination. I hope you're able to sort that out. For the last part of this part of the workshop, what we're going to do is we're going to assign these musical instruments to parts of the UK that we think they're from. So to do that, we're actually going to need to come out of full screen. So click up here. Can you see those arrows pointing into the center to go back to the page where you can create the code? Okay, so back on our coding page, let's scroll down our sprite menu until we find the sprites of our instruments. And they're called, there we go, we have one here, harp, bagpipes, penny whistle and melodeon, just breaking down towards the bottom there. So tell you what, let's go to our harp first. So we're going to click on it and that brings us up our code. Now we're going to need to go to sounds here. So we're going to select the sounds tab. And what you'll see is that there are 4 different sounds for this instrument. So I'm going to have a listen through to all of them and see if I can tell which is the harp. And you have a listen at the same time and see what you think. So this is our first sound. Okay, I'm not sure if that's a harp. Let's listen through to our second sound. Okay, that's sounding more like a harp to me. Let's check out, because you have two more options though. It could be a red herring. Okay, and last sound here. So I didn't play all those through, but you can listen through in your own time. I'm pretty confident that the harp is this one. So that's instrument number 2. And now what I'm going to go and do is code so that when that sprite is clicked, we get the correct instrument sound. So let's click up here back on our code page. And we're going to need to go to events, which is here, the yellow one. And we need to find our block up here. It says when this sprite is clicked. And then we're going to need to go back to our sounds menu. This is the sounds tab, but this is our sounds menu. So this is where we put our sounds that we want to use. This is how we control them here. Okay, that's the difference between those two. And then we're going to say we're going to start the sound, and I think it was instrument 2, wasn't it? And just to check on that, let's come over here, and this is our harp at the very bottom. Let's give it a click. Okay, and now finally I'm going to want to put the harp on the place in the UK that I think it is. And coming from Wales, I know that the harp is a very traditional Welsh instrument. It is traditional in Ireland and Scotland as well to a certain extent, but people really associate the harp with Wales. So now I have my instrument here on Wales, and when I click it, I can get my sound. Okay, so your next task is to go and code so that your instruments play on the correct part of the UK, and then come back with me. I'm going to have the solution, so pause this, see if you can work it out for yourselves, and then we'll play the sounds of the countries together. Okay, off you go. So this is the final map. I hope to be able to complete it. We've already had Wales's harp there, and if I click on some of the other instruments, let's hear the Northern Ireland. This is the penny whistle. And then we had the bagpipes up in Scotland. And then finally the melodeon, more associated with the north of England actually, but we can give that a listen. So we're ready to move on to our next section, and we're going to do that by clicking this button. Can you see this little blue tab in the very top? So give it a click and we're going to move on to our next section. Okay, so here's the next part of our workshop. The first thing I'd like to call your attention to is our little icons here for very different parts of our world. So we have them listed at the bottom: farm, cliff, valley, beach, village, factory and mountain. And if you move them away from each other, you can see that we have the same number as on the bottom of the screen, but I've also got one here which I've given you straight away, which I'm going to just put down there, which is our city one. So let me spread all the others out here so you can get a good sense of, oh, there we are, that's the rest of them. So we have our icons here, and they relate to these words at the bottom, so you are going to have to match those up. But the first thing we're going to ask you to do is to code what you think are the sound effects for each of these regions. So if you go back to the main screen, let's just get out of this big screen first, and I'll show you what I mean for this next part. So when you found tile 1, what we're going to do is go up to the sounds tab up here. We're going to give it a click. And what you'll see here is 8 individual sound clips. Now we want to assign a city sound to this clip, because eventually what's going to happen is if you get these tiles in the right order, they're going to accompany what we've got here recorded. And I'll play it for you in a second, which is our walking tour, because these are all different lengths. And if they are in the right combination, they will play at the same time as the walking tour, but only if you've got the correct sound for the correct tile. So we're looking for a city sound here. Let's go and see if we can spot it. So I'll go through them in order. Yep, not really sounding that much like a city. Let's try number 2. No, again. That sounds like somewhere quite open. I don't think that's a city sound. That could be a city sound, so I'll keep that on the back burner. Let's listen to all of the others first, though. Definitely not a city sound there. Okay, well, I think it's probably going to be that one, because I can hear some diggers and I can hear some people and I can hear some car noise in that. But let's just check. Right, no, that sounds somewhere like outdoorsy. That's definitely not a problem. Okay, so I'm going to put my money on it being sound clip 6. So next what we need to do, we need to go back to our code. So back on our code, we are in our yellow events menu, and we're going to use this one here when this sprite is clicked. So let's drag it onto our code page, and then we're going to go back to our sounds tab. We give it a click, and there we go, start sound. Sound clip 8, but we didn't say it was sound clip 8, we said it was going to be sound clip 6, so let's select that one there. And now when I click on my city, I should get that sound that I think is correct to go with the city. So your next task is to repeat what we've done here, but for each of these other tiles. So we have in our sprite menu tile 1, tile 2, tile 3, tile 5, and if you scroll down a little bit, then we've got tile 6, 7, and 8. So repeat the steps we've just done here, and then come back and we'll have a listen through our walking tour. Okay, how did you get on? I hope you got some of those right. You can always go back and change them if you need to. It's not a problem. You just go back through the code. So your next task is to listen to this walking tour and then try to move these tiles into the correct position based on what's being described in the walking tour. So let's just have a listen to that first. Many people live in this place. I'm one of them. It can be noisy at times, but I like busy places. This is the place where I work. When I have finished my shift, I am glad to have some time to relax. I can see waves and hear the sound of the sea. It's so relaxing here, but there's not much cover. This place is perfect when the weather is good. I decide to head inland following the river. I am walking surrounded by vegetation. I pass a place where many animals live. Some are grazing the fields as I pass. Oh, this is hard work now. This walk has become very tough because of the steep incline. I follow the path, getting higher and higher. I can see all around. Suddenly the path comes to an end. I've journeyed as far as I can and it is dangerous here with a long drop down. So I head back home, stopping off at my nan's for a biscuit. She lives somewhere much smaller than I do. It's nice and quiet there. So I've just arranged these in an incorrect order, and the idea, what we're looking for is we want to start our walking tour and the information in the tour is going to be accompanied by sound effects. Now this one's going to be correct, but then thereafter these aren't going to synchronize with the walk. So let's just have a listen to that first. Many people live in this place. I'm one of them. It can be noisy at times, but I like busy places. This is the place where I work. When I have finished my shift, I am glad to have some time to relax. I can see waves and hear the sound of the sea. It's so relaxing here, but there's not much cover. This place is perfect when the weather is good. I decide to head inland following the river. I am walking surrounded by vegetation. I pass a place where many animals live. Some are grazing the fields as I pass. Oh, this is hard work now. This walk has become very tough because of the steep incline. I follow the path, getting higher and higher. I can see all around. Suddenly the path comes to an end. I've journeyed as far as I can and it is dangerous here with a long drop down. So I head back home, stopping off at my nan's for a biscuit. She lives somewhere much smaller than I do. It's nice and quiet there. Okay, so if you can spot some of those didn't quite work, did they? So what your next task is to do is to put them in the correct order and try playing through them as the walk is accompanied. And don't forget, if you want to stop the walk, you can just click on that sprite. And then please join me back for the final solution. I've taken the words from the bottom and I've put them into our blocks here corresponding with the correct order, which is what I believe. We'll have a listen now to see if you agree with me. Right, so let's start off our walking tour with our sound effects. Many people live in this place. I'm one of them. It can be noisy at times, but I like busy places. This is the place where I work. When I have finished my shift, I'm glad to have some time to relax. I can see waves and hear the sound of the sea. It's so relaxing here, but there's not much cover. This place is perfect when the weather is good. I decide to head inland following the river. I'm walking surrounded by vegetation. I pass a place where many animals live. Some are grazing the fields as I pass. Oh, this is hard work now. This walk has become very tough because of the steep incline. I follow the path, getting higher and higher. I can see all around. Suddenly the path comes to an end. I've journeyed as far as I can and it is dangerous here with a long drop down. So I head back home, stopping off at my nan's for a biscuit. She lives somewhere much smaller than I do. It's nice and quiet there. There we are. I hope you had that combination down as well. We've come to the end of the session today. Thank you so much for joining me. I just need to pull your attention to our Facebook, YouTube and Twitch accounts. Make sure you click the subscribe button there for all the latest updates. If you head over to conductivemusic.uk, there are over 60 one-hour projects available, so make sure you click the subscription link below. As ever, thank you very much to Arts Council England and our partners for their continuing support. Bye bye.